buzzword, right? Is there something more about it? Look, the research really shows that democracy actually, in the long term, really matters for growth. And the reason it matters for growth is things that we've seen play out in China recently, right? So when you don't know what your citizens are thinking, when you can't hear them criticize the government, and that's a source of information. So when citizens can say to your government, this is what I think you are doing wrong. And it's not just about the involvement of elections, which are fair and free in India. But it's about the ability of citizens to organize and to dissent, and for media to be free. And so it's not just that these organizations have downgraded India into this hybrid territory. It's not just about the name democracy, because after all, perhaps the least democratic country in the world, the Democratic Republic of North Korea, has democracy in its name. So it's not just a name, it's a set of institutions. It's the ability to criticize your government. Do you think that exists in India today?
I'm very glad that you asked me this question. I go to Oxford now. And I'm very, very happy to answer this. I just hope and pray I get a little bit time to answer. That's very important. I have to put a certain context here. And yes, people measure democracy. 3 indices. The World Freedom Index measures, the Economist Democratic Index measures, and we have varieties of democracy measure. One is from Stockholm, one is from the Economist magazine, one is from US. Now, my critique of the way they measure always is, if you look at the World Freedom of Index, the World Freedom House, the way they measure, they say, after 2019, India's democracy has taken a turn for the worse. That is the word they give. And very specifically, they attribute 2 things. Removal of Article 370 in Kashmir and the NRC in Assam. The 2 things they clearly attribute. Now, for the sake of audience who are sitting here, they have to understand 1970 when the Freedom House Index started. It was done by one professor assisted by his wife for 20 years. As a single person, I just want the professor to just allow me for 2-3 minutes. I'll be very happy to hear your argument. 20 years, one professor. In 1990, the same professor who started this index, he said, I measure democracy in a country by my hunch and my belief. Now, all we are asking is, yes, everybody has got a right to measure democracy in a country. We want people to come and measure democracy, and experts like you to say. But the question is it actually measured? If you look at the Economist Democracy Index unit, it takes its value from the World Freedom of Values Index. From 2012, no survey has happened in India. So Economist magazine is forced to give 60 questions to experts who grade India's democracy, and Economist publishes that as India's democratic index. I'm only asking the audience and you whether it's a fair way of measuring a democracy.
Maybe it's not.
I'm just answering. I'm answering.
Yeah.
When you talk about freedom and other democratic index also, what we're trying to say, in 2019 in BJP's manifesto, very clearly we said, when we win, from 1952 we are saying in our party's manifesto, Article 370 and 35A, we are taking it back. It's very, very funny. A democratic index telling me, because of removal of 370, we are giving you a lesser score in democracy. Only after, ma'am, I'm putting the question. In England, will you accept a girl born in Scotland, if she gets married outside Scotland, she will lose her right to property? Will you accept it happens in India? A girl born in Kashmir, girl born in Kashmir, if she gets married outside Kashmir, she loses the right to property. Article 370, by removing, we have given her back the property. So democratic index should give us more score for removing this.
Your answer is about, to my question about whether democracy has declined as measured by ability to criticize government. And you went.
I'm coming to the second part. It's very important.
Now let me finish, right? So you went to 370. It's not just about 370. Reporters Without Borders Press Freedom Index saw India drop 15 scores, right? So it's not just about Article 370. And I actually think, I'm not talking about policies now. And again, hypocrisy is there, but there's a clear correlation between, the ability of citizens to criticize their government and the information that government hears and effective governance. Right? This is well shown.
Fair enough. It's a
my
very important question.
Right, so my question to you, which is the question I asked at the start, is do you think that there's space to dissent in India Forget Article 370, forget the CA, forget the things that, right? I'm talking about the space to criticize government. Is that the same today in India?
We have to appreciate and understand, ma'am. We have to appreciate and understand. In India, anybody is free to, if you look at all the prime ministers in the world, presidents in the world, and who gets criticized most, I can say it will be Prime Minister number one. I'm not again talking parochially. People can call names, people can call everything, people can abuse his mother. Even when the mother is dead, people can abuse. That is the level to which democracy is there in India. Second, we have to appreciate, when you say that nobody protested, the formula was taken back because we listened to the people's protest. We have to appreciate. And we are a country where our minority brothers and sisters can sit in Delhi, Artery Road, block the traffic for 60-70 days. Still they are allowed to protest because of the Citizenship Amendment Act. If they have a problem, they can always speak. And India, you just have to understand, it's a very complex country now. And the law and order is a state subject. What happens in Tamil Nadu? Tamil Nadu, for example, I as a politician have multiple cases against me, again for freedom of speech by the opposite government. I have gone to the Supreme Court and correctly stated. Now we have to appreciate law and order, it is a part of the different state governments. Police is part of that. And attributing everything, what happens in Bengal, oh, let me put it in Modiji's account. What happens here? Let me put it in Prime Minister's account. What I'm saying is, can India be 100% perfect democracy? I don't think any country in the world is 100%. Everybody is improving. All of us are reaching there. All of us are reaching there. Yeah. But in the trajectory, when people say from 2014 it took a turn for the worse, and they start attributing 2019 when they start giving all this data, that is where I have a problem. When free and fair elections happen, people vote. A prime minister is getting voted back to power for the third straight time. That too happening in a very noisy democracy in our country. That too we got 240 with all humility we accepted. 20 parties together they got 240. It is unheard of in global politics. 20 parties together they got 240. One party got 240. But still they say BJP is loser. I don't know what mathematics people bring to the table.
Well, the mathematics are that 95% of charges brought up in the UAPA are against opposition politicians. So that would be, for example, one fact.
UAPA, Unlawful Activity Prevention Act, is a very clear act to prevent terrorism. That is mainly to prevent terrorism. And India previously had a very draconian Quota Act which is not there. Visa Act was not there. UAPA Act is there. So I'll be very happy to speak further on this, but 100% we can, anybody who is in India for a long time, again I respect your point of view, you are doing very important work, your professors, we need critical inputs from outside, people who look at India with a fresh set of heads, absolutely no question. But my argument to both of you and to the audience who are listening here is, it's not a fair way to sit outside and say that it has deteriorated in our country and right now equating what is happening in India to 1976 emergency. Now, people speak multiple languages. It's so noisy, and anybody can travel outside, and people can come to Oxford and criticize India, the opposite party. Sachin Pilot is a very dear friend, is a fantastic politician, no doubt. We respect everybody's view. But to say that it has taken a worse after Modiji has come, I don't think it's a very fair assessment.
To interact before, he is here as part of the Gurukul Chevening program, with which we've again, I interacted before, and I asked him in the elevator down here how he was enjoying that time, and he said, "I'm a changed person." I said, "Really? How has it changed?" I said, "Wait, let's hold that. Tell everyone how has the time." So we are part of an institution, university in general, that prides itself on really spirited and open dialogue and debate. And in particular, at the Bharatham School of Government, we believe that if you change government by just a little bit, you really are able to change the lives of many, many, many people. In the case of India, of course, that's 1.4 billion people. So just give us a little flavor of how
I'm glad that, Professor, you asked me this question. I still remember when Professor Maya Tudera was in our class, and she made her point of view, and it is a well-known fact that as a researcher, they have a point of view. And it is also a fact that everybody will have a point of view because we look politics very closer. I have a skin in the game inside. I remember the long conversation both of us had over emails. I wrote an email to Professor and she was kind enough to reply to me. Then I wrote an email. I believe that is the greatness of Oxford. And when you come here, you engage with anybody, even a great political scientist and economic scholar, and everybody sits in the same forum. That is a great thing for me. And fortunately, unfortunately, Professor, at one point of time, India was a great country in terms of education and learning. The Nalandas and the Taxilas, if you look at it, and fantastic places of learning. But somehow, colonial conquest, at different points of time, we lost many things. So we are trying to get back into that space where our academic centers can be world class. And then the latest world ranking, 46 Indian colleges have gone into the US world ranking. It was 11 previously, now we are 46. We want to get there. When we look at this kind of eminent institutions like Oxford, we just pride that India should also have something like that soon, where the children come here, they take all kinds of questions. You go somewhere, somebody is for Palestine, somebody is against Palestine, somebody is for Gaza, somebody is against. But when you talk to those kids, everybody has got a point of view, and it's not necessary that you should just shut somebody down just because he's got a differing opinion. That is the big thing in Oxford. The second, for me, everywhere is the quality of resources Oxford has got. The libraries, the accessibility it gives you. And even here, and you are very kind enough, and a respectable member of the audience had a very differing point of view with you, and somebody had a differing point of view with you. And it is a greatness that we sit in the same forum, and then we engage, and we all have different points of view, but we try and find a common way inside. This I can see in Oxford day after day, class after class. But when I hear about Oxford outside, I have a different point of view. But when I'm inside, I'm having a different point of view. Third, but most importantly, I said I'm going back a changed man because I remember when economists wanted to do an interview of me, Economist magazine about 8 months back, I said I will not give an interview. He said, why? He said, look, you are biased, I'm not going to talk to you. He said, look, that is not the way to argue. I said, okay, if that is the case, we will do one thing. I'm opening my life to you for 4 days. You can tag along with me. Everything you see. After that, you ask a question, I will reply. The reporter, a British reporter based in India, was kind enough to come with me, and 4 days he traveled with me. Then we both had a very engaging conversation. I don't want a positive or a negative story about India, madam. We are not bothered. We are only bothered about a story with perspective. Yeah. So that made me wonder that maybe India is not represented very well in global forums, in Financial Times or New York Times or many places. Some of our achievements have to come in these papers, the papers that most people read. It is not that I can simply say I don't care what people in Zurich think, what people in London think, what people in Washington think, but actually you influence the money that comes into my country, the FDI that comes into my country is influenced. Go out, attack all the 3 indices. But all the 3 indices is a basis for World Bank to determine a country's governance mechanism based on which funds flow. Right. And it is very important that one side I attack everything with data, on the other side you have also the humility to accept, to see how can I do better, to see how can I bring a better argument to the table so that everybody gets our point of view that is represented well. So I'm going back with this mindset that not necessarily to close our ears and shut down our eyes to criticism, but come back, have an open forum, go back. If there is something that we have to change, we are happy enough to change, no problem.
Well, on that wonderful note,